Hi, I'm Candace.
And I'm Ripley.
And I'm John.
And this is Comicsplaining.
The show where 33.
33.
33.
33.
It is March 3rd.
Yeah.
Otherwise known as 33. This is not at all because it is my birthday recording.
Yes.
It's not my birthday. It's just my birthday recording.
Birthday week.
Birthday week.
The week of.
Right. I don't have to record on my birthday. It would be a birthday recording, would it be a birthday recording day or just a birthday recording weekend? I don't remember.
Weekend. Your birthday is on Saturday.
Okay, cool. I didn't remember.
You didn't remember when your birthday was?
I remember.
Yeah, I don't like my birthday.
That's
I sit here and I talk it up like I care about my birthday, but I don't actually.
I mean, I'm not looking forward to mine.
Another trip around the sun.
Unfortunately, birthday week does not happen during a recording.
I don't know. I personally think that any chance you can get to celebrate something in this fucking piece of shit world.
Celebrations in this economy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pain.
So we are currently recording on one jank-ass setup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a 2-laptop setup. Not that it probably actually matters. Not that you can probably actually hear a goddamn thing. You may actually be experiencing less noise because this is quieter than our usual setup. We don't have a big-ass tower running.
Is the tower that noisy?
Not really, but it does make noise.
I know. I just didn't know if...
So this has got 2 laptops running. We're currently running off the laptops because guess who fucked with the recording rig again and regrets it?
I'm sorry.
I mean...
That was not you at all. That was all me.
I mean, okay, but the recording rig, quote unquote, is also something that you're trying to set up for gaming and streaming. So, like...
There's a method. There's a method
happens.
of the madness.
I'm working on it. Anyway... Yeah, for streaming, I am hoping to eventually stream. I'm outed for being embarrassing there. I've been working on that personal project for quite a while.
I outed you as a
potential streamer.
God, I was just told you have the rig to stream on, and yeah, I do, and I don't. I don't stream.
I don't stream, but that's because I can't.
I could.
I'm working on it.
John doesn't because they're antisocial.
So that's why I would stream to coax people into talking to me.
I don't know. It feels...
That's not antisocial.
It feels like work.
That's just being shy.
Yeah.
Feels like work.
I mean, it is work.
And I don't want to turn gaming into work.
Fair enough.
So anyway, we're currently recording on
the
good old
setup.
laptops. The good old laptop is back.
Mm-hmm.
This bad boy used to record the podcast way back when.
I didn't experience that setup.
Our ancestors came to this country on the back of that laptop.
This laptop used to record the podcast even back when we used to record over fucking Discord calls.
Yep.
Oh, God.
My laptop is new to this setup.
It is alien
at least
to it.
partially because I've only had it for like 6 months. So
yeah, it's currently driving the video, so hopefully we don't have to deal with any more potentially dropped audio, because that always used to give me a heart attack. We never actually lost anything, but it would say we lost things, and I'd just go,
yeah.
Oh my God.
yeah.
I remember you talking about that.
It gave me a potential heart attack there a couple times, but we never actually lost anything. Just made me lose my goddamn mind there for a few seconds. So anyway, do you guys want to tell me what happened last time on X-Men?
Yes. But first, I have prepared a statement.
Oh, no.
Okay.
These
statements represent the expressed thoughts and feelings of the Comicsplaining podcast?
Yes.
Dear listeners, my co-host actually has a written statement. I am seeing proof of a statement. This isn't something that is coming off the top of anyone's head. This is actually written.
I prepared it. So please take this seriously and try to be quiet, okay? Dear listeners, I must apologize for my heinous actions in Comicsplaining episode 121. I am currently wearing a tailored suit, but the jacket is unbuttoned and my tie is loose to make me more relatable. I am leaning one butt cheek on a stool in a casual way and trying very hard to look contrite. You see, on this show, we do a bit where we force each other to summarize the comics that we read in the previous episode, which is usually funny because we don't remember anything. However, during our last recording, I was briefly possessed by a demon named Hyperfocus, and for reasons that I myself cannot even guess, decided to deliver the X-Men recap in painstaking detail. This not only reduced the amount of time which Ripley had for their segment, but also produced audio which some may describe as unlistenable. I understand that I can never be forgiven for this crime, but please know that after this recording, I will be submitting myself to corrective justice, in which a combination of PCP and a VR headset will simulate spending 100 years in the oubliette from the cult classic 1986 film The Labyrinth. Thank you.
The fuck?
Apology accepted.
This message is a endorsed. God, I'm failing.
Endorsed by Comicsplaining Inc.
Yes.
LLC.
A thing that definitely exists.
All right.
So I was so busy thinking about that I forgot to remember what we read last time.
Well, all right.
No, I got it.
Oh no, not again.
No,
I want off Mr. Bones' wild ride.
not again. Concisely. We read a story in which Kitty's parents took her out of the school and sent her to...
Wait, I got this one.
Okay.
I got this one.
All right.
Kitty's parents, of clear mind and body, and under no duress, decided they wanted her out of the Xavier School for whatever.
The Xavier School for whatever.
Yes.
Xavier School for whatever they're called. Correct.
And she didn't like it, but she wanted to fight it. But no.
This isn't important. Keep going.
Xavier was not going to mind wipe these people because he isn't like that. That is not the man he is. So no. So she goes, and it turns out it's run by, oh my god, I'm forgetting her name.
Emma Frost.
Emma Frost. And
Storm drove her there.
Yeah, Storm drove her there, and this was actually a trap.
Surprise.
Yes, for you see, Emma Frost had a doohickey that allowed her to swap bodies. Yeah, she had a Freaky Friday device.
She did.
Freaky Friday gun.
And she used it. And her and some of the old timers from, God, what are they called?
The Hellfire Club?
Yes, the Hellfire Club, them.
She used it on Storm.
Yes, she used it on Storm.
So Emma swapped her body and Storm's body.
Emma the thing is, she gets a little distracted by Storm's powers.
She does.
And so she kind of gets there, and she gets to the Xavier School a little late, and the Hellfire Club, including one of the guys who we thought was dead, is kind of taking out the X-Men.
Oh yeah, Leland.
Yeah, Leland. We thought Leland died.
I mean, I was very sure that he died.
Well, when you increase the weight of a Wolverine on top of you, that would normally kill you. But apparently Leland is made of stronger stuff than that somehow.
Yeah.
Even though that's not his ability at all. His ability is making things heavy.
Because he's fat.
Which...
Get the joke? Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were holding the X-Men captive. They also had Sentinels.
Yeah, for some reason Sentinels.
No, we know the reason.
Yeah, no. They were...
It was covered.
It was covered.
And then Emma showed up?
And she showed up, and Storm convinced Kitty in Emma's body that, well, actually she didn't.
No.
She kidnapped her and then convinced her.
Yeah.
And she comes back. She learns how to use Emma's powers.
You missed the part where Emma Storm kind of betrayed the X-Men and they got captured.
Yeah.
Look, It's
I mean,
No, you're doing a good job. That's just one detail I wanted to clarify.
this was a pretty memorable episode. Set of issues.
You're doing a good job.
Keep going,
just
John,
wanted
keep
to
going.
clarify that detail.
So, Storm in Emma's body and Kitty show up, and they rescue them.
Yep.
And that's roughly it.
That's roughly, except they Freaky Friday back.
yeah,
they do
at
Freaky
the end.
Friday back at the end.
And Storm almost killed Emma.
And then Wolverine talked her out of it.
Yeah, yes, Wolverine, the man of cool, calm collectedness, who is the voice of reason.
Okay, as I've told you before, the fact that it was Logan makes it better.
Yes, that's what makes it funny.
Okay.
All right, well, we had one more story.
Fuck.
We did?
Yes! Bedtime story.
Oh, right, the bedtime story. So Ileana Rasputin can't go to bed.
Not without a bedtime story.
So she gets one.
Yep.
The end.
From Kitty.
From
Yep.
Kitty, yes. It goes over really well. Everyone hears it.
Yeah,
they love
everybody stands outside the door.
It is cute.
It was
is a
very
cute
cute.
story.
But ultimately inconsequential.
Yes, the story itself doesn't really mean anything, but it is a cute story.
Yep. That's pretty well summed up.
I think that's the first time I've actually successfully remembered most of an episode.
That's the first time you've ever done a recap.
Very well done. No, not at all, because
You
there have
did
been
it,
times
buddy.
that John soloed episodes.
Have I? Have I
Yeah.
actually hard carried before?
Yep.
I don't remember.
Yeah. I wonder
just
why.
remember every time we do a recap, John's like, no. And then I have to do it.
Just don't ask me what happened in Thor.
Oh, I'll ask you later. Don't worry about it.
I know.
First off for us this week, it's going to be X-Men Annual 5 from August of 1981, written by Chris Claremont, penciled by Brent Anderson, inked by Bob McLeod, colored by Glenn Sween, and lettered by Tom Orzechowski. So I do want to note that this is called Ooh La La Badoon, and I had no idea why until I read the comments on CMRO. So apparently, one of the biggest brands of designer jeans, which were all the rage at the time, was Ooh La La Sassoon.
Oh.
And that's what they're referencing here.
That's
Interesting.
vaguely familiar. I think I've heard of that.
I'd never heard of that before. I was just like, this is so stupid.
Oh my
Why
God.
is this called Ooh La La Badoon?
I am outing myself as being old.
Haha,
we
old
know.
ass.
We know you're old. It's fine.
Susan Richards isn't happy. Some time ago, she sent Ben Grimm up to the lab to retrieve her husband and brother, only to come back up here herself to find he got drafted into Reed's experiments.
You know, the way you said that, it made it sound like her husband was her brother.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I know this isn't that kind of family.
No, but this is that kind of author sometimes. She's been working all day on a home-cooked meal, for once, and the boys all blew it off to help Reed in the lab.
Oh no.
Frustrated, she storms off, stopping only when she sees her son Franklin.
She storms off.
Ha ha ha. She storms off, stopping only when she sees her son Franklin riled up about something. He clues Susie in that one of the Fantastic Four's alert radios is going off about an active shooter with a laser gun.
Oh,
That's in a school?
No,
this art is really nice.
It is.
it's only a few blocks away, near enough that it's worth their attention. She goes to tell her husband, only to immediately find herself face to face with him,
Yeah.
stretching out of the lab to come find her.
God, that's creepy.
He'd come to apologize.
Seriously?
Yeah,
He does that sometimes.
Wow. I guess that's why they haven't divorced yet.
Yep.
it only takes moments for the Fantastic Four to suit up, and soon they're all trundling off in the Fantasticar. Meanwhile, in the streets below, a Shi'ar Imperial Pathfinder, Desindri, wielding a laser gun, flees for her life from enemies unseen, quite literally.
And apparently, like, has ripped her shirt so that we can see her titties.
Quite artfully, right?
That
Yeah.
seems to be what is happening here.
Why, though?
I don't know.
When the Human Torch arrives on scene, all he sees is a woman firing wildly around a New York City street while passers-by duck for cover. After firing off a heat blast at Desindri, he ducks back up to the car to give the rest the lowdown. All the while, the Shi'ar's pursuers draw nearer and nearer. Her attackers fire off a bolt not at the Pathfinder, but at the Fantastic Four as they've reached the Shi'ar first. The bolt hits Ben Grimm full in the chest, staggering the hero, prompting the rest to disarm the winded Dysindri, still panting out a warning about Archon and the Badoon and how she must tell Xavier. Then, before the unbelieving eyes of the heroes, there's a flash of light, and the alien collapses, dead. A moment later, and the group themselves are attacked by beams!
Oh no!
Beams!
Motherfucking beams!
It's always beams.
Instinctively, Sue manages to react, protecting herself with her force field. But the rest all take the full force of Dysindri's attackers, struck down in the middle of the street. With law enforcement fast approaching, the attackers decide they're done with this situation and take their captives and go. That leaves Susan Richards on the scene when the cops arrive. Well, they heard reports of a woman with a gun, and that's exactly what they've found. They're not exactly keen on letting her go, and she doesn't have time to waste if she wants to see her family again, so Susie turns invisible, ducking away into a nearby alley with a plan to find some care for her son and then call on Charles Xavier to see if he has any more information on these Badoon or this Archon.
Smiley Vizina. Squid 675. Raoul 189.
Wow. So rip the Fantastic Four, I guess.
Raoul 189, that's his screen name.
Kind of funny for them to kill the Fantastic Four in a not Fantastic Four book.
Yeah. Well, one of them's fine.
Yeah, the important
The
one.
fantastic one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, no, hey, to be fair, Ben Grimm is pretty cool, too.
Yeah.
A grand battle. Archon and the X-Men face off in bloody battle against a seemingly endless horde of reptilian aliens. Not that kind. The battle has been long, but it nears its end. Aurora wakes with a start, panting and naked because no one has been yet in this comic.
Ugh.
She collects and clothes herself to head down to the kitchen. It's 3 a.m. when she hears someone shuffling around on the porch, and it's with the simplest gesture that she summons up a wind to sweep Susan Richards and her son inside the house. The boy is scared, but Susan is relieved just to be here in the company of help, collapsing inside. She's all right, but absolutely exhausted after the day she's had. And after a brief checkup, she begins to tell the X-Men her story. As soon as she hears the name Archon, Storm's ears perk up, thinking of her dream. Scott similarly takes an interest, though it's something else. He instead stares at Dysindri's gun, of Shi'ar make and model. All the pieces are coming together. Susan's story makes sense, and that means that not only are the Fantastic Four in trouble, but Archon and potentially Lilandra as well. They have to do something, but what? While Susan coming along is pretty much a foregone conclusion, Kitty's isn't. But Charles has never been one to balk at children throwing themselves in danger, so he's on board.
Yes. Where would we be without Charles, child soldier Xavier?
Even if Aurora and Scott are a little less game. But Chuck says Kitty goes, so she goes. The youngster dashes off to go get the new costume she concocted, and it's another doozy.
Oh no.
Wow.
But this one, unlike her invitation in the first place, gets the veto. After the dejected girl goes to change, in a dash of the golden lightning bolts, assumedly gifted to them by Archon, the heroes are gone.
They are gone to find Archon.
Oh no.
That was so funny.
Sorry.
When the glow fades, they see not the splendor of Archon's realm, but the wreckage of a ruined world, torn by war, though they're met by a familiar face, that of the Vizier's apprentice Sashia, though I don't remember ever having seen her before.
Not the Vizier from Thor.
Honestly,
Different
I don't even
Vizier.
remember these people, to be perfectly honest.
I
You don't-
vaguely remember this.
You don't remember Archon? He showed up
I
and,
remember-
choked Jarvis.
Yeah, I remember Colossus tits out on a dragon.
Yeah.
That was, I guess,
That was Archon.
I barely remember Archon. Sorry. I remember him, but he was like a special only character.
He was a special only character.
He was.
So he's
That
not...
was the last time he showed up.
Oh,
Honestly, like, the guy who drew this one does okay, but I really miss George Perez in this one, because
That's fair.
he killed it last time. The X-Men are familiar enough with the woman that Aurora even greets her with a warm hug.
We have definitely not met this woman.
We have definitely not, but I do think it's funny how Aurora is just like this with every woman. It's very gay. It's very gay.
It's great.
She's that way, and, like, Jean was also that way.
Yeah.
Lorna
Makes you think.
It really makes you think, doesn't it?
Lorna is not that way, though, so, like, it's specifically them. Makes you think.
Makes you think.
Mm-hmm. Wonder just how big that polycule is.
I mean, the polycule that ate Westchester.
It is the Westchester, the greater Westchester polycule. Come on.
Exactly.
Sashia meets her with the confession that Aurora's dreams were her doing, and that Desindri too is an escapee at the place. She's just glad that the warnings met their intended recipients. Now she can tell them how they were conquered by the Brotherhood of the Badoon.
Ooh.
After first denying any knowledge of the Fantastic Four, Sashia then explains that after the X-Men's intervention on her people's behalf, they knew a time of peace and plenty, and then the Fire Nation attacked. Or rather, the Badoon.
Yeah, they're not cool, guys.
They're green.
No,
Yeah,
they
well,
kind of
yeah.
suck. Oh no, wait, you would know the Badoon. Angela, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I've seen the Badoon in, like, a few places, honestly.
I don't think I have, to be perfectly honest.
They're around. And they suck.
They do suck.
That's okay.
Suddenly and without mercy, seizing the capital, along with their leader, Archon. Sashia proposes that if they can just rescue Archon, along with him and Aurora, it would be enough to rouse the people into revolt. But Logan doesn't buy that, and Psyche is definitely going to need to hear more to get on board.
I like that Logan is just smoking a cigar here.
He does that.
I know, but
I was gonna say, I like how they found Scott shipwrecked and then he just immediately joined the X-Men again. Like, hey guys, everything's cool. I'm not grieving my dead girlfriend anymore. Let's go fight bad guys.
And I'm not going to go back to work for my lady boss on the sea.
Yeah.
My boss was just sexually harassing me for several weeks now. I think I'm ready to go back to working with my friends now.
Also, yeah, she has not come up in several issues.
No, I
Anyway.
think he was happy to just leave that behind. Huh?
You know what? I don't blame him.
So the Vizier's apprentice gives them a little better rundown of the situation. The Brother Royal of the Badoon is camped out in Archon's palace in the capital city. That's where they've got Archon and probably the Terrific Three as well. Menfolk aren't allowed in, but pretty ladies are.
Of course.
Meanwhile, these guys are getting all their men and supplies in through this Stargate out in the wildlands.
The Stargate? Not
We've,
the Stargate!
We've already made this joke.
We have a Stargate locally.
We do. The giant butthole.
Oh, God. Do you mean that one downtown?
No, that's a different one. I was thinking of the one over in,
I was.
Sterling Heights.
yeah.
Butthole.
Yeah, that one. There's another one down in Detroit.
Yeah, we also have a giant fist in Detroit, so...
Yes. So
we
if you
can-
ever want to experience...
That...
Don't introduce the giant fish to the giant
I was
butthole.
about to make a joke about that.
We have now made another joke. A second joke about fisting has hit the tower.
We have... Yeah.
Oh, and now it's a 9/11 joke. Great.
We have some very exciting works of art out here in Detroit, the greater Detroit area.
Yeah, come see a giant fist. A giant, almost
Butthole.
ring.
It's a butt.
Yeah.
It's a butthole. It's a beehole.
Okay.
Anyway, Cyclops has got a plan. It's not much of a plan, but it is a plan. They're gonna split into groups. Let's split up, gang.
Uh-huh.
Group 1, Sashia, Nightcrawler, and Wolverine are going to go to the Stargate and take it out. That'll cut the Badoon off from any backup they can get, Meanwhile, Storm and the Invisible Woman will infiltrate the Citadel to free Archon and the Fantastic Four, fomenting Sashia's revolt, and Cyclops, Kitty, and Colossus will be there to back them up should they run into trouble.
I know I already mentioned it, but the art here is so good. Like, the artist actually made the characters look different.
Yeah.
Like, they have different body shapes and heights.
I mean, it's not George Perez, but it's still...
It's pretty good.
Pretty damn good.
It's pretty impressive that Sue and Sashia managed to look different.
Yes.
All-
Because that's not something you can expect from comics, even modern
You
comics.
have two white blonde ladies.
And
who
they
look-
don't look exactly the same.
Yes.
What the hell?
It's impressive.
Brother Royal of the Badoon stands above Reed Richards, ready to extract some answers from his captive. See, this place is interesting and all, but the Badoon have never been a content people. They're conquerors, and long have they had their eye on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck with that.
The thing about Space Tucky, though, is that it's teeming with these superfolk. So what Richards is going to tell him, whether he likes it or not, is about all these superfolk so that they can wipe the floor with them.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, the super folk are what make it such an enticing target, though. You know, because, like, if you're the guys who finally take over Space Tucky and get rid of all the weird super people, everybody else in space is gonna have to pay you so much respect. You know?
Gonna have to put some respect on your name.
Everybody's afraid of Space Tucky.
Well, yeah, I guess I suppose if you cleaned up the vermin of Space Tucky and now everyone, these are people who come out of nowhere, do terrifying things, and then leave, and you've managed to kill them all. Yeah, you'd be pretty scary.
Yeah, you would earn some respect for sure.
Respect, fear, a little bit of both.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Maybe a little bit horny.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I mean, there's got to be some monster fuckers among the aliens.
Yeah. Well, I mean...
I don't know. I think these guys already earned them.
He then begins the torture session. Sue and Aurora huddle in the shadows outside the palace, robed up and just about ready to go. But
Where
for
did
the
they-
anxiety.
Where did they get those robes?
Sashia found them.
Okay.
Susan's brimming with the anxiety, but after a moment to steel themselves, the women walk up to the Badoon guard, claiming to be there for entertainment. The guard tears away their robes, exposing their revealing costumes to the light of day while they search the women for weapons, much to Susan's revulsion.
Aurora's nipples are showing.
Repeat, Aurora's nipples are showing. Still, they are
Not Susan's, though. Just Aurora's.
That's a choice.
Still, they are eventually admitted without issue. Apparently, Aurora's nipples are considered not to be weapons.
Bold.
Meanwhile, the Stargate team have finally got the gate in sight.
What the fuck is she wearing?
I don't know.
Traditional
Enhance.
The boob cups.
You gotta protect the boobs. Gotta protect the tits.
Who the fuck is this guy?
We got a Thor character just wandering in here.
Oh my god, that's right. I forgot that Archon's place is like Asgard, but space. More space than Asgard already is.
Which is weird when you stop and think about how space Asgard is, especially at this point.
Yeah, they're a bunch of warrior people.
So
yeah,
why-
but specifically, they look like Vikings.
they look
Right.
like space Vikings, which is
Right.
a problem because
There are
Thor
already space Vikings.
Thor characters already look like space Vikings.
Because they are space Vikings.
So why is this not a Thor plot?
I don't fucking know.
Because the Badoon couldn't take Asgard.
That's true. Well, I don't know. Some ants could.
Some ants could take Asgard.
The Stargate team have finally got the gate in sight. Not that that helps much. The wildlands are wide open terrain for miles around.
Also, it's the wrong shape. It should be round.
But they do have... We've made this joke already. You've made it 3 times, so it's not funny anymore.
I don't know. I kind of like the design of it.
A square Stargate feels wrong.
See, I have to agree, though. I think a circle is much cooler.
A movie and then a
Or like,
decade's
what
worth
would
of
be
TV
really
series
cool?
that
A
corrupted me.
pentagon. A pentagon
I think
or a triangle.
I think a decade's worth of a television show has corrupted me on this one.
What about an upside down triangle so you only have one little point to walk through?
I think that would actually be pretty dope.
Well, wouldn't actually be a pretty cool design, even if it's really annoying to have to go through.
The annoyingness would be what makes it cool. Oh, that would work really well for like spaceships and airplanes.
Isn't that kind of like how it is for Treasure Planet? How they do the portal thing?
Ooh.
I don't remember. I haven't
A
seen
very
that in a
deep
while.
discussion about portals over here.
Well, portals are one of the cousins of beams.
True. Same family. Same phylum.
What
And
the fuck are you
sometime-
guys
Well,
talking
sometimes, and I'll tell you, sometimes portals come from beams.
True. So true.
You can't not talk about
no, no.
I
beams
can't
without
deny
talking about
that.
portals.
I
No,
can't deny that.
John's got something here.
Yeah, I'm cooking. I'm actually
Let
cooking.
him cook. Anyway, go on.
Alright, you're stirring. The wildlands are wide open terrain for miles around, but they got a plan.
Yeah, this place sucks.
Yeah.
This is like sand.
That's probably why they want Earth.
It's coarse, rough,
and
gets
irritating.
everywhere. Kurt can travel the distance in not but a few baths, and Sashia, as an active practitioner of the mystic arts, can disguise herself and Wolverine as Badoon behind a spell. They're all but ready to go when Kurt stops him, wanting a moment to speak with Wolverine.
Gay.
He wants to know if Logan plans to kill people during this battle, which, of course, he does.
Of course he does.
Yeah. Look, these are special only characters. It doesn't matter if they die.
Kurt disapproves.
And they're also Badoon, so fuck them.
Right. Kurt disapproves, feeling they need to stand for something more. He knows he can't stop Wolvie, but he does caution him to at least not take any of these lives lightly. It's something that the warrior culture around them just does not get. But with that, the Stargate Team 2 are off to the races.
I got distracted by this guy who's wearing plate armor and
No pants.
manties.
That really is a thighs out look.
That's not just thighs out, bro.
Well, yeah, but I don't
That
see
shit
a
is
dick.
cradling the family jewels.
But I don't see a bulge. Man's kind of
We
Kindle
don't-
down there.
Fucking Kurt doesn't have a bulge either. That's just a comic book thing.
Remember how much trouble they got in that one time they outlined Batman's fucking dick? God damn it. We can't do this again.
They can't have dicks.
Sorry, I got lost in the fucking dick rage.
Sometimes the dick rage takes you.
The dicks course.
Fuck.
I'm dick disturbed.
No. No.
I got you drinking too. As they begin their journey towards the Stargate, Susan Richards endures the pawing of Brother Royal of the Badoon. He finds them appealing, and it's a good thing for them, lest they end up suffering Reed's fate. He pulls up an image of the hero's current fate on his torture racks up on the screen.
I love that he has that. He can just pull up that.
Mm-hmm.
The image, along with the Badoon's scaly hands, is too much for Sue, and she snaps, shouting before smashing Brother Royal into the wall with one of her force fields and then sweeping the floor from under the guards.
Hell yeah, girl.
Rip that guy.
She's just being an absolute fucking badass in this issue, and I love it.
Was Reed ever a decent person? Because I feel like he's become kind of a punching bag for being a terrible husband at this point.
No, he's mostly a decent guy. I think he's just got some bad tendencies. Right?
Well, he's not.
Ripley, you have an opinion on this.
I'm opting out.
Oh no.
One thing I will say about Reed, he did help Tony put the bone hurting suit in his bones. So
Is that a good thing?
no, because it hurt his bones.
Look, there are worse husbands than Reed Richards. I will not deny that.
What does that have to do with him being a good or bad husband?
Good. It does have to do with him being a good or bad person, though.
True.
And if you're a bad person, can you be a good husband?
Sure. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
There are definitely worse husbands than him, though.
I think Reed is complicated, and sometimes he is good, and sometimes he is bad.
But he is not the worst husband in the comics.
He's not the worst Reed in the multiverse.
That's true. There is a worse Reed Richards. There are probably quite a few worse Reed Richards, but there's only one worse active one at the moment, I think.
Mm-hmm.
God, that guy's still fucking around as far as I know.
Oh, yeah, that's how they're restarting the Ultimates universe.
Of course it is!
As I told you guys,
that
it involves
bitch.
Ripley's favorite bastard.
That bitch! He's still
He's
around.
not my favorite bastard.
No, you love him though.
There are better bastards.
We'll make a bastard tier list some other time. Let's keep going with this comic.
Yeah, we'll have to. If we ever get to that concept we were talking about, you'll have to sit there and see if you know who my favorite bastard is.
Yeah.
It's probably going to end up on that bastard's probably going to end up on the list.
I have some ideas. Ripley has a lot of bastards that they love.
I do. I guess I just love collecting bastards.
Oh my
Fair
god.
enough. Fucking Aurora's nipples are still showing.
Yes, they are.
The trap, along with Aurora's nipples, has been sprung early. Storm's not exactly pleased with this turn of events, no matter what her nipples would tell you, but what's done is done, so she summons up a fog to hide their movements through the palace.
The woman just has, very erect nipples, and I can relate to that problem.
Oh my god.
That was a joke.
So she's... But what I want to know is where Sue got her fucking costume back from.
She made it invisible? Because it looks like it was on underneath what she was wearing.
Oh!
So maybe she made it invisible, which would be fun and clever, actually.
Alright, that would be cool. That makes sense. Alright.
She was wearing clothes over an invisible
Hey
costume.
guys, where did you go?
I like that so much, actually. I like that so much.
Not to, distract from that very good thing, why did we go out of our way to shade Kitty's crotch?
Huh.
I don't know.
Anyway, go on. Take us away from this page, please.
Outside, Cyclops and co. hear the fracas and dive in, attacking the guards outside, only to find the doors locked tight. Psyche and Colossus pick the lock.
That was so perfectly timed.
Yes.
Which is amazing because I'm the one controlling the comic.
Attracting the attention of the already pissed off Brother Royal, who sends the mighty monster of the Badoon after them, while at the same time ordering Susan Richards to be captured alive for laying her hands or, force fields on him.
Yeah, her hands is specifically what she did not lay on him.
Yeah, she didn't want to touch that guy.
Slimy.
Out in the wildlands, Kurt has finally arrived at the Stargate, knocking out the last security patrol. He moves to take out the last two Badoon when they call out, and Sashia drops the illusion, revealing herself and Wolverine safe and sound after their trip across the desert.
Oh, so if he'd just been a little faster, targeted different people.
Yep. And of course, getting here wasn't even half the fight. A veritable wave of Badoon now begin to rush in at the trio.
That's a lot of Badoon.
That's the thing about Badoon. There's a lot of them.
Oh, is that their shtick? There's just so many?
They have a lot of shticks, actually.
Oh, no.
They just kind of suck.
Yeah, they just suck overall.
I don't know these assholes.
They're slavers and they just suck.
Yeah, they just suck.
Fun.
In the dungeon, a light fixture suddenly begins to float, and then suddenly stops floating, right over this guard's head.
Convenient.
Neat trick. The invisible woman then opens fire, taking no prisoners as she rushes across the room to her husband.
Motherfucking beans. This time on the good guy side.
Meanwhile, Aurora turns her attention to the shackles of the others, releasing Johnny, Ben, and Archon to help take on the rest of the Badoon. Sue frees Reed from the contraption, and Aurora gently cradles Archon while the battered Empyrean recovers. He doesn't have long. Brother Royal and his heavily armored cadre of guards have now entered the chamber, ready to strike down the heroes for their defiance. Up above, Cyclops and co. continue fighting their way through a seemingly endless torrent of Badoon, but they're not actually having much of a problem with it.
I see
Yeah,
that.
those beams aren't really doing jack or shit.
With how narrow the corridors are, they're just being, bottlenecked into the pain funnel.
And
Fucking Colossus is just being a trash compactor.
and the one that actually gets through goes through Kitty Pryde.
Uh-huh.
Right. Piotr is nearly invulnerable to their weapons and takes up most of the tunnel. So as long as Kitty and Psyche stay behind him, they don't have to worry about taking hits from those blasters, and Psyche can still kind of fire off shots when he gets the opportunity around him. And Kitty's safe for obvious reasons.
Kitty's safe because
Beams,
she's Kitty.
Yeah, because beams don't work on Kitty Pryde.
Nothing works on Kitty Pryde.
Not even volcanoes.
So the trio are continuing on their merry way right up until the monster of the Badoon shows its ugly mug.
This guy I don't know fucking jack about.
I'm guessing he doesn't make it out of this comic.
Possibly.
All of a sudden, Piotr is yoked to the side by the big orange lug like it's nothing.
Practically breaking the comic wall.
Ooh, I like that actually.
Ooh.
Yeah. The lettering.
That's a good panel break.
The lettering is literally the wall of the comic.
You know, the thing about comics is that you don't want to break the wall of the panel unless it's a good reason, and this is good.
Pretty good reason.
This is really good.
That's how powerful that explosion was. Yes,
You're always so good at catching that stuff.
Yeah?
Yeah. You've got a real eye for that in particular.
I didn't realize that. Thank you. Because we haven't seen a lot of that in this one. So that's what makes that special.
The Cyclops gives him his best, but he's not budging it either. And then it gets worse. The monster hits Scott with beams, so you know he's down.
Oh, no.
Kitty's still up and going, so she decides to give it her best shot, calling the monster further down the hallway after her before goading him into bringing the roof down on the pair of them. Sprite phasing harmlessly through the destruction. She's about to break out the champagne flutes because you know the X-Men are all about the underage drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When the rubble starts shifting because this bitch still isn't down yet.
Oh,
This
no.
motherfucker.
He's about to be because Colossus didn't get his chance to fight. He might have been yoked, but he's not done. And seeing Kitty back in the Thing's crosshairs is enough to have him fighting mad.
Ooh.
The young Rusky comes back swinging, quite literally. He decks the Thing good and grabs on, only for it to try to blast him, instead blasting both of them out through the wall, and they begin to fall down, 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 a whole mile to the earth below, landing in a giant cloud of dust.
I am glad they gave us half a page for that.
This is very enjoyable.
A petrified Kitty stares down over the edge of the drop,
He's fine. Don't worry about it.
trying to make something out of the dust cloud. I don't think she's ever seen him take that kind of drop, though.
That's fair.
Her heart catches in her throat, waiting for any sign of Colossus's survival until suddenly it shows.
Because you know what would suck? If that monster guy lived and Colossus didn't.
No, keep going, please.
The glint of metal in the light as he begins his near-naked climb out of the pit.
Why did it destroy all his clothes?
Furious.
Great
and ready
question.
to fight.
He's got his bear shirt on.
Oh yeah, he put his bear shirt on, baby.
It literally says he's in a berserker rage. I can't believe you didn't put the bear shirt in your script.
Well, he's too naked.
That's how berserkers...
He's almost naked, but he doesn't.
It's not a literal shirt.
How am I going to talk about how naked he is if I'm going to talk about putting on his bear shirt?
That's what berserkers did, at least in theory.
Yeah.
They got naked and attacked.
Yeah, and they put their bear shirt on.
Yeah. By getting undressed.
Yes.
And raging.
Like Jedi, I take off my...
God.
Wait, what?
You know, when they drop their cloak before they start.
Oh, no.
Fighting.
No, when Jedi strip completely buck naked. Yes, that, like that. Yeah, you know, remember that scene in Star Wars, the original Star Wars, when Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader stripped naked before they fought to the death?
Yes.
Yes!
Yeah, I watched the first Star Wars in 8th grade in my school.
That was a bold thing to show to children.
Where the fuck was I? He's furious and ready to fight. And speaking of fighting, let's check in on the Stargate trio, piled up on a stack of Badoon bodies.
What does it take to destroy a Stargate anyway?
What has happened to Nightcrawler's clothes?
Why are we stripping everyone?
That's just what happens in comics. Sophia, I can't help but notice, still fully clothed.
Logan.
She's just that
Logan.
good, baby.
Logan is losing his clothes. Kurt is losing his clothes.
Maybe Sashia knew what was going to happen and
Yeah.
dressed appropriately
Yeah.
because it turns out this is going to be a stripping
Maybe
issue.
Sashia is wearing armor and the rest of these fools are wearing fucking spandex.
True.
She knew she was going to be dealing with
She's like-
clothes stripping beams.
Yeah.
And
She knew that the Badoon have guns that get rid of your clothes.
thus dressed appropriately.
Mhm.
And yes, it looks silly to our untrained eye, but she knew. She knew.
We were making fun. We were laughing.
I mean, I'm still laughing at her boob cups.
Yes, but she has the last laugh. She's not getting naked.
True.
They're holding their own, but something's got to give. Something's got to give.
Something's got to give. No! Let the brothers eat the floor. Let the brothers eat the floor.
And it's about to give. The Stargate fires up, and that means the Badoon are about to get reinforcements.
Oh, crap.
If that happens, it's all over for our heroes. They'll be overwhelmed for sure. That's when Nightcrawler finally has an idea. Lalandra told him the Stargates are vulnerable when they're in operation. So Kurt takes his purloined Badoon blaster and opens fire on the Stargate again and again and again until it blows with a thunderous roar.
Ah.
And the space Viking with no pants watches through his binoculars.
Through his space binoculars.
I like his pigtails. I like that his helmet has a fucking ponytail and then he also has pigtails.
Well, you gotta be fashionable. Look, this fit is too good for Thor.
It's high fashion.
This is too good for Asgard. I'm sorry, but his fit is just too good for Asgard. It would not pass the sniff test there because they're out of date.
True.
The calamitous explosion signals the warriors posted on the hill that it's time to attack, signaling them into battle against the Badoon. Badoon is very fun to say.
It is.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I become very confused, because one of Brother Royal's posse comes bearing bad news about the Stargate, and also about how the humans are kind of kicking the guards' asses. Just a few pages back, Brother Royal was there in the dungeons, and now he doesn't know whether the humans have been dealt with.
Chris, explain.
He's also very pissed off to find out they haven't been dealt with. I guess he must have shown up, went, "Nyeh," and then dipped to let his guards handle it, and then they didn't?
Well, he's the kind of royal, not the kind of royal that actually fights, but the kind of royal who has other people fight for him while he goes and, like, sips a mojito.
He just showed up, went, "Nyeh," and then went away.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
But unfortunately, though, he is the type to shoot the messenger, so rip that guy.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Cyclops, Kitty, and the dungeon crew have met up. Though Archon has to lean on Storm for support, he's still trying to swing his sword around.
Huh.
Even further down than the dungeons, Piotr has found a whole posse of Badoon, so he wants to find out what they're up to. Reed's baffled as to how none of their weapons have run out of ammo yet, despite how long they've been fighting. But after a moment's examination, he determines they don't actually have ammunition. They're being fed energy from some kind of central repository. Archon's got an idea where that might be, too. Some catacombs the Badoon sealed off beneath his palace. But they've got no way down there. At least not until Ben rips off an earth-shaking punch into one of the walls that collapses a hole all the way down into the basement, just to
Ooh.
show up the Hulk.
And he said the thing.
He said the thing.
He did.
Look, it wouldn't be Ben Grimm if he didn't say the thing.
He's got to say it at least once.
It has to be clobbering time. It has to be.
I'm sure Archon really appreciates you doing that to his house, Mr. The Thing.
I mean, you know, sometimes you have Mr. The Thing clobber your wall, and it does destroy a lot, but Archon's like some kind of royal guy. This probably is like Tuesday when he's in charge.
Infrastructure project.
Yeah.
It creates jobs.
Yeah, exactly. It creates jobs. That's what I was going to say.
When they take the Invisible Woman Express down the hole, they're surprised as hell to find our metallic bodybuilder friend strangling the consciousness out of a Badoon.
And he's dressed appropriately.
That's when a hologram of BR appears, explaining that he's activated a self-destruct unit on the central repository thing that will blow up the entire planet in a few minutes, but he'll be gone by then, so nee boo boo.
How? The Stargate's broken.
Still,
a spaceship.
yeah. Still, Mr. Fantastic thinks he can figure it out, and I'm not going to get into what he does because it's comic book bullshit.
Right.
That, in this case, is kind of hard to explain.
Haha.
But, like, by working together, they disarm the bomb,
Great.
and the day is saved.
Fantastic.
That looks like some comic book bullshit.
Yeah.
Archon faces his victorious people, but what of our other heroes? They survived the fight, Nightcrawler porting them away at the last moment, but it was finally a port too much for him, the strain costing him dearly. The teleporter is still alive, but on death's door.
Ooh.
The good news is, the Vizier is well familiar with the arts of medicine. These are a warrior people, after all.
And Logan is shirtless and sad.
Indeed. Archon has ordered a grand feast in honor of the victory over the Badoon.
Oh my god, her outfit. It was fine. She was right. She knew.
Yeah.
She knew she was going
He
to...
didn't lose any
She
part of her
didn't lose a
outfit.
single bit of clothes. She dressed
Oh my
for the
God.
occasion. She brought an outfit specifically designed for their clothes-destroying beams.
Sashia is truly the
Galaxy-brained this.
goat of this entire comic.
Archon has ordered a grand feast in honor of the victory over the Badoon, and everybody's celebrating it in their own way.
Wearing new clothes.
Kurt and Logan flirt with Sashia.
At the same time.
Johnny flirts with his waitress. Piotr has an arm wrestling match with Ben. They're tied, but Piotr is also distracted, much like his friends, by looking at girls.
I like this old man down here who's wearing nothing but a pair of undies and some bracers.
Look, it's just a look for these people.
Yeah, that's just how they do.
Piotr is also distracted, much like his friends, by looking at girls, something Ben has taken much frustration with. Kitty wishes Colossus good luck. The double take he gives when he recognizes her voice is enough to make him immediately lose the match because he didn't recognize her in the beautiful dress Sashia found for her.
Yeah.
Let's go with the word beautiful.
Yeah, we're gonna go with that.
Sure. It's reminiscent of the outfit that she had before.
It is.
Quite a callback.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Archon steps away from his people to a subject heavy on his mind, but not one of his own subjects. Aurora stands on the balcony.
Oh, God.
Ugh.
Also wearing clothes.
Question mark.
Why is she less dressed now than when she was sneaking into the Badoon?
As a fucking...
She chose to be less covered.
to be a consort.
Well, hey, at least we can't see her nipples.
Aurora chooses to be naked regularly,
We
so...
can see his nipples, though.
Well, he's not wearing a shirt, so that's fine. Even, I would say, preferable.
We don't always get man nipple.
Yeah, usually we don't, in fact.
Nipple.
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 Male-presenting nipples.
Nipples. Aurora stands on the balcony. He's had her on his mind. Ever since he met her, the Wind Rider has captivated him. But there's a problem between them. Duty. He explained... I knew you were gonna fucking do it. I knew you couldn't resist it. He explains to her that he would love to ask her to stay with him, but he cannot. He knows that it would break her heart to stay, and he cannot go because his people need him. And so he will not ask her. And I'm just going to read Aurora's answer because I like it. I live alone by choice, Archon, and because I have never met anyone who stirred my heart as Cyclops stirred Jean Grey's or Reed Richards stirred Susan's. I never regretted that till now. I will always remember you, Archon, and treasure those memories. The pair then kiss and return to the celebrations.
I mean, that's sweet, but where the fuck did this come from?
They kind of had a weird sort of thing happening at the last annual. There is sort of a carryover.
You
I
know,
guess.
not to be complete about something completely different, but I like the way there's a panel up top and a panel below that actually connect.
They connect. That's cool.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. The art in this issue is really good.
This isn't even the first time we've done panels like that either. The Piotr Nuke was actually doing a connect, where it was a series of panels where we see them fall.
Yeah,
and
no,
they're
that one was
connecting.
cool. I had seen that one.
The art in this issue is really good.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
pretty.
There's some really good use of space in this whole thing. Even the weird superhero solution to the thing looks kind of neat, even if it's Marvel magic hero bullshit.
I could not even begin to decipher what is happening in this panel.
That's why I did not even want
I
to
figured
try.
it wasn't worth it.
It just wasn't
I
worth
was just
it.
looking at the art. Anyway,
But it's got good art,
it's really good.
even if some of the outfits are questionable.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you rate that?
I feel like this.
4.
I feel like this needs like special rules because this thing isn't something that these are. These are not regular places or characters.
It's an annual.
It is an annual.
The word you're looking for is annual.
I know, but okay, modern annuals tend to wrap up storylines that authors couldn't include.
I'm not sure about that.
At least the ones I've
Not
run into.
always.
Not always.
Okay, fair enough. It's just the ones I've run into have been...
Annuals just tend to be something that they can't, for whatever reason, can't cover in the main story, and usually, like, they're longer, and they tend to be, like, kind of,
self-contained?
self-contained, and also, like, a bigger story, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even think the story itself was all that good. 3.5 at least.
I'm giving it a 4, mostly for the art.
Yeah, the art's the good thing in this.
I think the story itself was decent, but I don't give a shit about Archon, so...
Same.
Yeah, I'm 3.5 myself.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think CMRO thought?
It's a good question.
2.
Oof.
I don't...
John, high or low?
we're going higher. 3.
3.35.
Ooh.
Next up is Uncanny X-Men 154 from November of 1981. Written by Chris Claremont, penciled by Dave Cockrum, inked by Bob Wysack and Joe Rubinstein, colored by Don Warfield, lettered by Joe Rosen, with a cover by Dave Cockrum. Storm and Cyclops play a game of powers-only handball.
Hang on. Sorry, I have a couple of things to say about this cover. First of all, I think it's very cool. I don't know what the fuck these blue things are, but they look cool. I like how they're not outlined. It makes them stand out.
Yeah, that is
And it
neat.
makes them look like, not creepy, but like the way that they're drawn so different from everything else just kind of highlights them in a very interesting way.
You know, they actually are sort of outlined, but their outlines are gaps.
Yeah. No, it's like, yeah.
And the outlines actually get larger the closer they are to the...
No, it's lineless. It's lineless.
It's not quite.
What? Okay.
I mean, like, I'd say
yes,
those
I
are
understand
lines.
what you're talking about, but no, that's not lines. As an artist, I'm telling you, that's not line art.
Okay.
That is not line art. It's a lineless technique. The other thing I was going to say is I fucking hate Corsair's outfit. I have always hated it, and I will continue to always hate it. Anyway.
I just don't like Corsair.
True. Anyway, going on.
I have no real opinion on his outfit, but he's an ass.
Storm and Cyclops play a game of powers-only handball in the school gym. Scott's down a point, but it's never been more than a point apart. But it's the point that wins the game, so it's the one that matters.
Yeah, that's the one that matters.
Something else that matters? The pair of them are having a blast.
Aw.
They got the idea from Wolverine. Another something he's been doing in lieu of the Danger Room. Though I don't know exactly how he does powers on handball.
Yeah, that's a good question. How has he not just destroyed the ball?
Of course he plays for beer. I don't know what the hell these two are playing for.
Fun.
Beer?
Scott pulls a sneaky move, firing off some extra blasts in addition to the one that goes for the ball, and that throws Aurora off enough to miss it, tying the game once more. This is only the latest in a series of such games, leaving the pair hot and sweaty, in need of hitting the showers.
Ooh.
Oh, so the polycule is growing.
These two have been part of the polycule for a very long time.
The polycule is getting less subtle.
Elsewhere, the Starjammer's pilot is bound for home. It's just passing the Voyager 2 on its journey back towards the Earth, when suddenly her systems pick up a Shi'ar dreadnought. Bad news for Captain Corsair.
Hey, Shi'ar Dreadnought, please don't destroy Voyager 2. It keeps on getting destroyed in movies and shit.
Down in the Bermuda Triangle, we catch up with the rest of the X-Men, where they appear to have found the solution to their problems in Magneto's ridiculous undersea temple island.
Oh, okay.
Oh my god, that's really funny.
They're just...
They're just salvaging Magneto's castle.
So what you're saying is the U.S. government hasn't come in and stripped the place clean. They get to.
Well, that's international waters.
And this is the U.S. government cares.
I don't know.
Since then, they've been toting equipment out here to start setting up camp on the island.
Oh, that's not what I thought was happening.
Piotr helps carry some of the heavy equipment, with Illyana helping navigate.
And he's holding the boxes on the wrong end.
Oopsie doopsie.
This side up.
Look. He's great and all, but he can't read.
She's also an official X-Men now. Look at her t-shirt.
Aw.
Welcome to the X-Men, Illyana. Hope you survived the experience.
She won't.
No. Oh, no.
Anyway, Kurt is the only one around here who is picking up on the whole old ones vibe of the place, and he's not sure he likes it.
Wait. So finally someone actually mentioned it.
Yes.
Yeah, Kurt's like, I don't know if I like this. But Charles points out that as of late, home hasn't exactly been safe either. Anti-mutant sentiment back home has gotten pretty vitriolic, so it might be a pretty good idea to duck down for a Bermudan vacation anyway, huh?
Even if the vibes of this place are just kind of
rancid.
But also, Chuck is a weirdo and he wants to dig through all of Magneto's stuff.
Maybe, sniff his sheets a little bit.
He misses him, okay? He'd love to just stop fighting. For once.
But if they did stop fighting, who would they be?
That's who they are.
Sorry.
Meanwhile, atop one of the island's many towering spires, Carol Danvers stares out hopelessly over the island.
Oh, she's still here.
All right. Yeah, that annual is really out of somewhere.
She's lost her powers and so many of her memories. And just when she's really getting upset, Logan taps her on her shoulder and gives her a heart attack.
Great.
We don't actually ever figure out what he came here for because she actually recognizes him. Though she doesn't know why, and it infuriates her.
Ooh.
There's a man she loves, Michael Rossi, and she can't remember anything about him or that feeling of love for him. And she's letting all of this out when baby Kitty Pryde comes phasing through the wall because Charles wants to see Logan toot sweet.
Girl, use a door.
She's 14. She's not going to use the door. She's just going to barge in wherever the hell she wants.
Yeah. You gave a 14-year-old the power to go through walls. This was destined for disaster, one way or another.
Privacy was never an option.
Yeah.
Ripping past Mars, Corsair's bound for Earth. He's lost his tail back in the asteroid belt, or that's what he thinks, because it seems they foresaw his ruse and beat him to his destination, and now they're hitting him with their guns. The pirate dodges and weaves his craft desperately through the fire for all it's worth. Meanwhile, back in Westchester, Scott has finished preparing dinner for him and Aurora.
Which is salad and a loaf of bread.
Right, he keeps talking about how much he's prepared, but it literally seems like it is salad and a loaf of bread that he picked up.
I must say, I've outdone myself.
Maybe there's a second course?
Not that I wouldn't chow down on salad and some bread.
Right.
I would not.
I mean, I would, but, you didn't have to prepare that, Scott.
Although...
The most you did was maybe chop some vegetables. The bread is pre-sliced in a fucking bag.
It says bread.
It says bread.
No, look.
Wait. Hang on. He might have... Nope, that's a container of sugar for whatever's in the pitcher.
Why is he carrying it all at once, though?
Great
What's
question.
in the thing on the... Maybe did he make soup?
This?
No, on the table next to the bread.
This?
Yeah.
Questionable.
It's not a terrible question, but we will probably
Why
never
is he
know.
carrying all of it?
That's a better question. Did no one teach this man how to
I must say,
set a
I've
table?
outdone myself trying to carry all of this at once.
To be fair, he does say, though, in his head, though, when it comes to cooking, my standards are pretty low.
Because you didn't cook anything.
Look, he's not having a box of saltines and water. He made maybe sweet tea and a salad. That's probably...
He's been eating depression meals for the past month.
True.
This is probably an improvement.
Oh, and then he was shipwrecked, so he wasn't eating anything for a while.
Yeah.
So this is huge for him, actually.
They are being pretty cute and domestic, though, like Aurora just brought in the mail. Included in that is a postcard from Kitty and a letter from the Massachusetts Academy officially disenrolling Kitty from the books.
No shit.
God, I cannot get the idea that they probably hooked up right between this scene and the last scene we saw them. I can't get that out of my head.
Well, they had to go hit the showers.
They did. They hit the showers.
Together.
And now they're winky face, and now they're having dinner.
Yeah. As you do.
Yeah.
As you do when you're part of the polycule that ate Westchester.
The pair then begin to discuss whether either of them want to be leader of the X-Men, because Storm only kind of does, and Scott kind of isn't sure whether he does at all.
But somebody has to do it.
Scott, I don't believe that for a fucking second.
No.
You met up with the X-Men and immediately took leadership.
No, hold on. I think that there's a difference between being the natural leader and wanting to carry that burden pre-planned.
Yes, he's been trained to do that and specifically groomed, shall we say, to do that.
And he's good at it.
Doesn't necessarily mean he wants to. You're right.
That's why they're having this talk, because she's the other person who would be the obvious leader.
Aurora looks hot, as always. Continue, please.
But the discussion is cut short by a roaring sound from outside.
Please nothing explode. Please nothing explode. This place has had too many explosions.
The pair of them rush outside, and they see the Starjammer flying by overhead, on fire and shedding debris.
Don't hit a building, don't hit a building, don't hit a building.
She splashes down in the lake, and the heroes sprint for the ship, knowing her pilot must still be in there. Scott manages to blast him free, and the pair recognize the pilot as Corsair, swimming him back up to the surface to safety, though an icy pit begins to form in Aurora's stomach, knowing what may well be coming with this reunion.
So Scott doesn't know yet, right?
No, he does not know.
Does Aurora?
Jean knew, and Jean did not tell anyone.
Jean knew, and Aurora knows.
I thought she might know, but I wasn't sure.
Yep. Jean and Aurora both know.
Did
Jean
tell?
knew.
Yeah.
Did Jean tell her, or I can't remember how Aurora
They
found
were
out.
both.
Were they there?
They were both there.
Ah.
They were both kind of conscious, and they were both kind of linked together in
Yeah,
this
I was
mind
about to
meld
say they
thing.
were mind melded.
Christopher Summers lives his life in fevered dreams. A plane on fire, his sons thrown out the escape hatch with a single parachute. The love of his life slain before his eyes. The Starjammers ambushed by Shi'ar shock troops. He barely got away. And now he fades back into consciousness to find a very accusatory Cyclops staring him down, demanding answers for the locket around his neck, bearing pictures of he, his brother, and a familiar woman, along with a set of Air Force dog tags. He wants
God
answers.
damn
I'm
it.
sorry, Scott. You hauled this dying man inside and then immediately went through his things.
Well, it's around his neck. He might have just caught a glimpse of dog tags and then started to wonder, wait.
Yeah, he sees the dog tag, says Christopher Summers. What the fucking
Specifically, they probably would have said C. Summers, and
Right.
that's even more suspicious.
Right,
Look
C.
at
Summers. He wants answers. Corsair breaks the news, but Scott refuses to believe it. Aurora, though, confirms that it is the truth. A boggled Cyclops doesn't understand why she would even know. But the whole discussion is tabled when a four-legged alien creature comes blasting through the window, firing off beams that just miss Corsair. He manages to blast it off with his laser flintlock pistol.
Oh my god, it is!
It's so dumb.
But that's just one of them. They're by now streaming in from all over the house. There's no choice but to find themselves some room to fight.
God damn
rip
it.
the house.
Again.
Not again.
Corsair says their one weakness is heat. So that's one thing to work with, but how?
Make the punch dimension hot?
Friction.
No time for that now. There are just too many of them. So Aurora summons up a massive cyclone, whirling up everything but themselves in it, battering the Sidrian hunters senseless, but not killing them. It does buy them enough time to run, and that's exactly Storm's order. Run. They've got to go. Storm's going to watch their backs while they ready the Blackbird, and she'll catch up with them when it's time to go. Corsair's outraged by the plan, feeling Storm won't last on her own.
You don't know her very well, do you?
He keeps picking at Scott as they make for the monocar to gun it for the hangar, until finally asking if he even cares, and Psyche finally decks him for it.
Good.
Deserved.
They get to the Blackbird just as Aurora is finally starting to run out of juice, but she's got just enough left in her to summon up a monster flood through the tunnels under the school.
Jesus.
And then she flees to catch up with the bird.
Only that much.
You know, only that much. Which, yeah.
Only enough to create a fucking tidal wave.
Uh-huh.
That's Storm for ya.
You know, even when she's tapped, she's terrifying.
Scott looks down on the view of his home, now battered to unrecognizable wreckage.
Yeah,
Again.
I don't think we're putting this one back together, guys.
If anyone has the X-Mansion is destroyed on their bingo card, you can scratch that one off.
Keeps on happening.
Destroyed by spiders, apparently.
That's a new one, but...
Having gotten away, Scott's in a pretty good mood and ready to destroy the Sidri ship, but Corsair is not in a good mood. There's no ship to destroy. The Sidri are a collective matrix. When they come together, they are the ship.
That is a heck of a look.
I like these things.
Something that, to their horror, the boys in the Long Island FAA Regional Air Traffic Control Center are discovering.
Oh no, they
Ugh.
can't figure out what the fuck that is.
It is a very big ship, very suddenly appearing on their radars.
And apparently it's messing with local aircraft.
And then the chase is on as the Sidri forces the Blackbird into a chase, forcing her first low under the Triborough Bridge as it fires beams.
Beams.
Not beams.
It's always beams.
Luckily, the X-Men installed a windshield that allows Scott's blast to pass through it.
That's really funny.
Also, I think we're starting to get to the point where artists know how long a Blackbird is supposed to be.
Your guess is also as good as mine as to when they installed that fucking windshield.
Oh, they also put a logo on the Blackbird.
They did that a while ago, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
I never noticed it.
The Blackbird's still not long enough, but it's getting longer.
We're getting there. But
This is
he manages to get behind the Sidri, and he shoots off his best shot, firing off an optic blast, indeed an amplified optic blast, because that's what the windshield does somehow, but
Okay.
It enhances the punch dimension.
Sure.
but no shot. It's not very effective.
Yeah.
It's resistant to bludgeoning damage.
And maybe even immune.
All they've done is get driven into the concrete jungle, flying sideways through her canyons and valleys.
Not generally a way a plane that large can fly, but
Neville, that's an aeroplane. So it is, my dear.
these two are really random people on this panel.
They're so unimpressed. I love this so much.
Well, it's New York. What haven't you when you're not seeing gods literally at war? Is this even impressive?
But Storm's got another idea, because at some point she got here.
Sure.
I don't know when.
Yeah, that's what.
She can fly.
I know she was going to catch up, I just don't know when she did.
Just now.
We didn't have time.
They're going to disrupt the Matrix. Not that Matrix. Storm's going to create another monster cyclone to hold it in place, while Scott blasts it with optic blasts, and that will force the Sidri to disperse again.
And we're not going to have the talk about how Scott's dad is trying to be Scott's dad, and Scott is not
For
having
fucking
it.
once.
For the first time ever.
We can talk about that. I just didn't have a good place to fit it in.
That's true.
Ripley is always happy to talk about that.
But
By all means, let's
I
talk
don't know.
about
I
that.
just it's the first time he's tried to be Scott's dad.
Oh, he
ever.
keeps trying to do this. He keeps trying to
I don't think
talk
he
him
has.
up and talk him down, and Scott is not having it either way.
Good. He doesn't.
He doesn't deserve it.
Yeah, he doesn't have the fucking right.
He gave up on Earth. He said so as much.
Also, Scott is a fully grown fucking man, so
And
back off,
his
baby.
and his father, his true father, makes child soldiers. But that's not important.
And so Storm leaves the plane once more, zapping the bounty hunters to fix their attention on her.
I feel like she's kind of carrying this team right now.
Oh, she's always carrying the team.
Yeah, but like right now especially.
Yeah. Well, Scott has eye punches, and Corsair is just a guy.
He's just a guy with a
A
laser
stupid gun.
a laser
Flintlock.
flintlock. So she's kind of the only one who actually has any power against this thing or these things.
So she zaps them to fix their attention on her, as she whips the winds into motion around them. Unfortunately, that's when there's nearly some collateral damage. An NYPD patrol copter gets mistakenly shot down by the Sidri. The officers are, "Mayday, mayday, going the fuck down, put your heads between your knees and kiss your ass goodbye," when suddenly they see an angel coming to rescue them.
Oh.
She's too good for them.
JK, it's Storm. So they're right. It's an angel
It is
coming
an
to
angel.
rescue them.
She's too good for them.
Anyway, the Sidri are stuck tight now, and Storm intensifies her cyclones a little bit further even still. Finally, with one monster wallop of an optic blast, Scott additionally rams the Blackbird itself through the
Ooh.
ship,
Ooh.
and the Matrix disperses, blasting the individual Sidrian hunters all around the oil refinery just below, where the oil workers run for the hills.
Great! Good job,
Okay.
guys.
Okay. Sure.
Storm maybe could have picked a different spot for that hurricane.
Corsair couldn't be more stoked that this is where they are. All the better to finish the Sidrians off.
And did
By starting an oil fire off the coast of New York City.
and hey, if it causes a massive natural catastrophe,
And kills all the people on this barge.
Heat is what they need to kill them. It's the 80s. Fuck the planet. Spray that hairspray, baby! Scott stops when he hears the word kill. He didn't realize these things were actually alive. He's not willing to just kill a living being like that. But Chris knows this is the only way for this to come to an end, because these things won't just stop. They're just moments from reconstituting themselves. And so after Aurora re-enters the cockpit, Corsair dives for the open window, ruthlessly firing his pistol at the refinery tanks, igniting them and destroying the Sidri in a massive flash of an explosion.
And also all the oil rig employees.
You know, it's a hell of a thing that Claremont named this character after himself and made his protagonist hate him and made him commit a crime against humanity.
Ripley says that every time Corsair comes up. They're like, I don't understand why Chris decided to name Corsair after him.
I think he wants to be the heel. I think Chris Claremont wants to be a heel. He doesn't want to be a face, he wants to be a heel. He wants to be the bad guy.
I don't know.
I'm the bad guy.
I don't know, maybe he's just like, I don't know.
He wants to be he wants to be hated more than loved.
He's an anti-hero, right? I guess? Maybe?
Ish, yeah, I guess you could say that. And he did introduce some anti-heroes of his own before making Scott's dad do that.
Mm-hmm.
Psyche is fucking furious at his so-called father. Thinking about the environment, the risk to life. And Corsair doesn't particularly care because that's a small cost against the price of Earth itself.
Oh man, the X-Men are going to be blamed for all of those deaths.
There's a frame-up job going on. 10 days ago, a meeting of the Shi'ar Grand Council was interrupted by terrorists. Most were killed, Lalandra was kidnapped, the Starjammers were framed, and the trail was led to Earth. The Shi'ar have come to Earth, and they want their fucking Empress back. And they're gonna do pretty much whatever the hell they have to do to get her.
Yeah, that is some rough art on this page.
No, I'm just like, I don't remember Lalandra's outfit being this intricate.
No, maybe this is just because she's the Empress
Yeah,
now.
the Empress look. I mean, I like it. I do think it's cool. It's just a lot.
Anyway, how did you like that?
4.
I'm with you. 4 stars.
Sure. I'll go with 4.
How do you think Ciamuro liked it?
Oh.
4. John.
3.5?
Pretty close. 3.45.
Ooh. They didn't like it.
Not as much. But what we got you at the middle segment of the show. We're going to run through our stuff real quick here. If you wouldn't mind pressing the buttons, we'd really appreciate that. Like, subscribe, hit the bell button so you can find out when we release new stuff. We are over on Tumblr, Jeter, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky. You can join us over on Discord. We put a link in the description every time we release. We have a coffee if you want to donate to us. So
Buy us a coffee.
Buy us a coffee. That would be cool. If you want to send us an email, we are over at comicsplaining@gmail.com. On with the show.
Not more Fire Lord.
Fury of Firelord. Everybody was asking for the Fury of Firelord.
Nobody was asking for Fire Lord.
Everybody was asking for it. So why don't you guys do a very good job of telling me about every single thing that happened in Thor last time?
Okay, so they had just gotten to the destroyed. Jane had just sifted them out of the destruction of the 50th century.
Uh-huh.
So they re-arrived back there and were like, this place fucked up. And indeed, this place was fucked up.
Uh-huh.
So Zarko was like, okay, so here's my new plan. How about we go to the end of time and we deal with this there? So everybody decided, okay, we'll do that.
Because the Time Twisters are from the end of time.
Right. They've been traveling backwards through time. So everyone decided, we're going to do that.
Going to go backwards in the Time Twisters' time and kill them when they're babies.
Yes.
Right. So they go there, and then, oh my god, Servitor sacrifices himself fighting.
The robot did his job,
Yeah,
I guess.
the robot did his job, but he was Zarko's friend.
Was
no,
he?
he wasn't. No,
Was
he
he?
wasn't. No, he wasn't. No,
I don't-
he wasn't.
I don't remember him well enough to know
Nobody
either
cared.
way.
Well, he didn't have a personality because he was a robot.
He was a robot flunky.
Nobody cared.
You can see why I'm having trouble. I'm trying to remember what happened.
And inside the temple, there was one guy alive and 3 fucking eggs
Mm-hmm.
inside a life support system.
And the alive man was the wrinkliest man I've ever seen.
right, and the eggs...
Possibly second only to that Logan that you were reading earlier.
He called himself
He who remains.
He Who Remains.
And so the eggs were supposed to be for
Eggs.
after the rebirth of whatever comes next. The eggs were supposed to survive into that future and then pass on the wisdom of those who came before for the new denizens of the new future.
But that's
That's
really...
not what happened.
I
Yeah.
mean, maybe that's what was going to happen, but
No, it's not what
no,
was
it's
going
not
to
what
happen
happened
because we know what happened.
I don't think we do.
We do,
We
actually,
do,
we
because they
do.
twist backwards through time instead and destroy everything.
So, yeah, so He Who Remains, his people basically intended for these eggs to survive the end of time and go into the beginning of time because it loops around.
They talked him down, and he pressed the kill button on the eggs, and they died, and they were never there.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so they go back in time again to Zarko's, what's going to be Zarko's paradise. Only no, it is actual paradise. It's fine now. Derek's in control.
Yeah,
Makes no
the
sense.
fuck happened there?
See, this is the time travel that makes no sense.
No sense.
Not
Because,
the other thing.
because the implication was that when Zarko got there, shit was already fucked.
But
Right.
remember, the story changed during.
It was not consistent. But the implication was that things were already fucked when Zarko got there.
until Lynn decided they were fucked a different
yeah,
way.
until Len decided it wasn't that. And then when they came back to the 50th century, everything was good.
I swear to God.
Because Zarko was outside the time stream.
Man is writing like this like it's a golden age story. He's so inconsistent.
It makes no fucking sense. And then Thor and everyone disappeared.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they had never come there in the first place, because Zarko had never come, blah, blah, blah,
And
blah, blah.
So,
Then-
in the end, it didn't matter at all because it got retconned and none of it happened.
And then we end up on the conversation, this thing where they started with
Lemonade.
Lemonade. And this time a robot doesn't crash through the wall.
Yeah, and you guys lost your fucking mind.
Bullshit.
It was
It was really funny to listen back to. It was funny when it happened, but it was really funny to listen back to
Bullshit.
when I started doing it, and you guys were so silent for like a minute, and then you were like, wait, this already happened.
it
was
was
very
not a
good.
good story.
I planned it like that, and it worked perfectly. And then the other thing we read was better than that.
Yeah, the other thing we read was,
An
first
annual.
we went through the entire the North's origin story. I'm not going to go back to that. We know
We
that.
don't need to go through that. That's
But the actual story thing we went through was
Herc versus
Herc
Thor.
versus Thor.
again.
So some Greeks and some Norsemen were fighting
Somehow.
for some reason, and
Because they definitely happen at the same time.
don't worry about it. Don't think about it too much.
Fine.
This is the Marvel Universe. Maybe it happened different. Fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so they called upon their gods to help them. So Herc and Thor started beating on one another, and they decided that we're too evenly matched, so we got to call on our buddies to help beat on one another.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do it in a week. So they did that, and then
But there's not going to be war because both the dads are like, no.
right, they were both like, no.
But then Loki was like, what if yes?
Right. Loki turned into a fly and then went neener, and like instead like bit her as a fly, except no.
No, he turned into
I know
Thor.
he turned into Thor, but I thought it would be funnier if instead he bit.
How would that...
It would have been funnier.
How would that convince Zeus to go to war with Asgard, though?
Come to think of
Because
it,
it was a fly with Thor's face.
wait. Loki could have done it as Loki, and it still would have started a war.
Neater.
They don't know Loki. They don't know Loki.
But Loki
For
could have
Bob.
announced
Anyway, he showed up
himself
and
as Loki of Asgard, and
he smacked the back of Herc's head and he went, ah!
and he could have said, "I am.
And he left.
These are the explicit views of Asgard. I am currently speaking the explicit views of Asgard, and it's
My
associated."
actions are sanctioned by Odin.
Yes.
But no, he turned into Thor and did that, so... And then he left.
And then they all got together and fought, and each side thought they had won
Yes.
Because the old men decided to.
the old men decided that each of their
Odin-
posse had to be humbled.
They needed
Yeah.
to teach their kids a lesson.
Odin and Zeus decided to play an epic prank.
Right, so then Thor decided that he was going to go down to his new conquered people and party up.
Uh-huh.
And then
Only it didn't really work because his powers didn't work because the Greeks didn't recognize him as their god.
And then we got maybe the deepest bit of lore in Thor
Ever.
ever.
And then Odin explained, "Yeah, that's not how that works, buddy. They
'Cause-
don't believe in you."
See, we're gods, but we're only gods because they believe in us. And if they don't believe in us, then we're not gods.
Mm-hmm.
And those people, they don't believe in you.
Yep.
So you're not their god. You
Yep.
can't do anything to them. You can't touch them. They have to believe in you for it to matter.
So that's what happened.
Yep, and that basically set the precedent for, I mean, a lot of shit, honestly.
It's kind of the thing that makes God Marvel work.
Yeah, and it also has ripple effects on other stuff like magic and space Marvel because Asgardians just get into fucking everything. So that was kind of a big deal.
It was a bit of a palate cleanser after the worst story of all time.
Yeah.
Lynn.
But yeah, that was a good explanation. So, is everybody excited for Fire Lord?
No,
No.
we hate Firelord.
and-
We're sick of Firelord.
And the fact that Lynn is writing him is not filling me with any kind of hope.
Great! So,
Oh no.
this is Thor number 246. From January of 1976. Happy New Year!
Yay.
Happy New Year.
Written by Lynn Wein, penciled by John Buscema, inked by Joe Sinnott, colored by Glynis Wein, lettered by John Costanza, and the cover art is by Rich Buckler and Joe Sinnott.
Those artists deserve better. They're good artists. They deserve a better writer.
We open on a scene of simple domesticity. I guess everyone is staying with Jane now, which is why we went out of our way to establish the fact that she has a really big apartment.
Ah.
Oh, I guess they got kicked out of Avengers Mansion.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't go back to Avengers Mansion this time. I don't know.
Jarvis said no.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
He had to put up with a bunch of Viking gods for a while, and
Didn't want to do that again.
no, the mess they leave is legendary.
Mm-hmm. So, everyone is gathered in the living room for a chill hangout sesh after a McDonald's run. In fact, explicitly, they did go to McDonald's.
Wait, the Temple of the Golden... No!
Volstagg has a stack of burgers on a plate and is so excited about it that he's blocking the TV, which Fandral finds quite annoying because his favorite show is on.
He calls it the viewing box.
What's his favorite show, I wonder?
Hogan, on the other hand, is apparently not a fan of what's on, or maybe just not a fan of TV in general.
Ooh.
Volstagg asks why Fandral loves to watch the adventures of the dashing Errol Flynn so much.
Oh no, Errol Flynn, you
When-
keep on sneaking into these stories.
when he could easily go out and perform such adventures himself. So this is the point where I would go on a lengthy tangent psychoanalyzing Fandral, but instead I will show mercy and move on.
One day we're gonna get it.
The program ends, and Errol Flynn's dashing figure is replaced by Emery Lewis with the 6 o'clock news.
Who?
Len throws out a lot of names for, like, random bit characters in these issues, and I don't know why, but he just does. So, the top story today is about an ongoing civil war in the South American country of Costa Verde.
Uh-huh.
Which is an extremely generic name. Thank you, Len.
Definitely a real place.
Definitely a super real place.
Considering that Thor went to Vietnam, he won the Vietnam War.
Apparently, the democratic government of Costa Verde, which is headed by President Juan Almirez, is having trouble with a group of rebels led by a man called El Lobo.
You know, this guy doesn't really look much like a democratic leader.
That's not the president. That's El Lobo.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
We don't have a lot of details about this situation, but the rebels are pretty overtly coded as communists in the classic Marvel fashion. So once again, Len is taking us to the Silver Age with Thor fighting communists in South America, which has happened before.
We've been here.
Not again.
Len, okay, so far the impression I'm getting from Len is that he's stuck in the Silver Age, and I'm not loving it.
It's not a good look. It's really not a good look. These were getting tired when Stan was doing it, and Len is reheated leftovers.
One thing I will say is that the intention was obviously to say that the rebels are evil and want to overthrow the good and just government, but from a modern lefty position, it does kind of feel more like maybe El Lobo is leading a people's revolt against a sham government, possibly created by foreign intervention, but, you know, that's just how I would interpret this as it was written today.
Look, it's South America. We almost certainly had a hand in the current quote-unquote president.
Yeah, so anyway, the revolt has not been going well so far until a recent development turned the tides. Jane starts to turn off the TV, probably because she knows that Thor has a bad habit of inserting himself into foreign conflicts that he knows nothing about.
He does do that, doesn't
Yes.
he?
Often.
Yes. Remember when Thor won the Vietnam War?
Yes, I mentioned that.
But he asks her to leave it on because he's already hooked.
He's already got another war he needs to involve himself in.
And even if he wasn't, he would be when an image of Firelord pops up on the screen.
Firelord, why are you there?
So, the former Herald has decided to take the politics of this small nation into his own hands by joining the rebels, which is swaying the conflict significantly.
Firelord,
Yeah,
why? Comrade Firelord, why have you joined with this rebel band?
Thor decides immediately that this is his responsibility because he and Hercules let Firelord off the chain. So he's going to fly down to Costa Verde and take care of it. And maybe also save democracy a little bit.
Sure, that'll save democracy, yeah.
Sure.
It'll save capitalism.
The Warriors 3 are ready and raring to go, but Thor tells them to stay behind.
Why?
Why did we bring them here if they're not going to do anything, Len?
That's
Just to have them sit around and watch TV? I mean, I like that part, but...
Want them to do cool things,
Yeah,
too.
I think they should do more than that. Jane, on the other hand, is obviously going, because how else can we use her as a damsel in distress if she's not there?
She's useless in a South American war.
Oh, the reason stated is that Jane took Spanish in high school and can act as an interpreter.
No. You've told me too much to know to
Thor
I
does not need a translator.
I wrote this in here. As my two co-hosts will immediately find this to be questionable.
We did.
Because they know from my many ramblings that Thor, and indeed all the gods, have a power called the Allspeak, which means they understand all languages and they speak in a way that makes everyone hear it in their own native tongue.
Why would they?
I'm not sure at what point that was codified into canon. I tried to look it up, but I couldn't find anything helpful. But I do feel like we've touched on it before.
Also, he went to Vietnam and didn't need a translator.
He's been so many places without a translator. It's never come up before.
He didn't need one in the 50th century. Why does he need one for South America?
But
I feel like he's been in South America without one before.
Yes, he has. No, when I said this is something we've done before, I meant that literally. We have done this before.
Lynn!
The first executioner.
Lynn! This is leftovers. You are reheating
The executioner,
leftovers.
that's what the first guy was called. I've been sitting here trying to remember what his fucking name was.
I mean, he wasn't memorable, but I remember his name because there's another executioner who does matter.
Right.
There is one of those.
But yeah, whatever the case is, I think it's dumb, and also it never comes up again.
Wait.
Thor and Jane take off for South America, and we are going to transition that journey by checking in on Asgard.
For some reason.
Well, as you may recall from a couple episodes ago, Odin fired the Vizier.
Right. He
And-
fired the one voice of reason in his government.
To replace him with the guy who tried to coup a while ago.
Yes, he appointed Igron as his new advisor, which we all thought was a bad idea, and Balder also thought was a bad idea.
And if Baldur thinks it's a bad idea, then it's a bad idea.
So it seems that ever since this happened, shock of shocks, things have been going downhill pretty fast. Igron is doing his best Wormtongue impression, accusing random Asgardians of treason with no evidence, and then urging Odin to punish them without trial.
Oh, fun.
The Allfather banishes the latest batch of traitors to the Molten Mire Pits, and no, I don't know what that is.
Well, it's a thing, apparently.
I guess. Everyone present is shocked into silence, except Balder, who turns away in disgust. Before he can exit, however, Odin stops him by declaring that he has not been excused.
Ooh.
He says that everyone had a very important lesson to learn from this display, and Balder replies that he learned it while internally thinking that Odin has gone off his rocker.
Yeah.
Balder's got cheekbones like a cup fucking glass.
He does, doesn't
True. Thor and Jane arrive in Costa Verde and head to the presidential palace, which is
he? Suspicious.
not a phrase that I would use if I were trying to make this president look sympathetic.
Yeah, but Lynn only
To
knows
each his own.
Lynn only knows South American countries to have presidential palaces. Therefore, this president has to have a palace.
Mm-hmm. So Thor's plan is to first let President Almirez know that they're on his side, as well as see if he has any helpful information about the rebels. It's nice that he's at least taking the time to communicate with the local government for once, but as they touch down on the lawn, he remarks that maybe they should have phoned ahead, because the guards don't seem particularly happy to see them. In the tense political climate, the bodyguards immediately assume that Thor is here on behalf of El Lobo to kill the president.
Well, they have a guy who can fly and shoot fire, so maybe this is another one of those things.
Yeah. And yet, they open fire. Thor deflects the bullets by spinning his hammer, you know how he does, and then he throws Mjolnir to sweep them all off their feet before heading up the steps to the manor.
And I'm sure they're fine.
They're fine. The God of Thunder enters the presidential office with a formal greeting and a small bow, which is only just polite enough to keep El Presidente from shitting his pants on the spot. Thor kindly informs the man that he's here to help, but Almirez needs a little more assurance than that. Luckily, the Odinson says that he's super duper means it, I promise.
Why does he need anything?
And that's all it takes.
This is a man who went through the guy's guards.
I mean, why would he just take him at his word, especially after going through his guards?
Because he could just kill him if he didn't mean it.
Yes. I don't know. I don't think this guy is in the wrong for not trusting this immediately, but also, literally all Thor has to do is say, I promise, and he gives up, okay? So
Yeah, this is a mealy-mouthed American toady.
Yeah, so this is some really good dialogue. Len, the president then says that the rebels are camped out in the jungle surrounding the city, which is not much to go on and really doesn't help.
Since this is probably the jungle part of South America.
But Thor seems to accept it and gathers up his lady to fly off once more, leaving the poor man to mop the sweat off his brow and curse himself for getting into politics. Our intrepid heroes arrive in the jungle where Jane begins to tear apart her shirt.
What the fuck?
Because it's too hot. This is a bad idea for a lot of reasons, and it's also dumb and not what her reaction to this situation would realistically be.
She's just, helping a dictator stay in power.
No, what I'm talking
The
about...
shirt.
I mean, that too, I guess.
Walking through a tropical jungle that you know nothing about is not the place that you want to be exposing a lot of skin. That's very dangerous for a number of reasons that I shan't list.
I don't actually know much about tropical jungles like that.
Let's see. Bugs.
Bugs would be my primary.
Bugs, plants.
I don't spend a lot of time thinking about jungles.
Animals.
There are a lot of things here that could hurt her a lot.
But she sure is acting like she's on vacation.
She is. Thor honestly looks exasperated by this, and I can relate. This entire page is dedicated to putting Jane in a crop top.
I did not come dressed for traipsing around Dante's Inferno. You knew where you were coming!
Yeah.
Why didn't you dress for it then if you were so convinced that this is how you had to come?
Because they didn't stop to do anything. They literally jumped out the window. Right then and there.
Why?
Great question.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Great question.
They didn't have to. Their hand was not forced. They saw a news report. It's not like Fire Lord was just doing things then at that very moment.
Yeah, this page is very transparent fan service. But the funny part is that she makes such a big production over it that it draws the attention of a rebel scout.
What the fuck?
Who runs back to camp to report the arrival of foreigners to El Lobo. The wolf himself is in his command tent with Firelord and a woman whose name is a slur.
Oh no. There
the G one.
Oh boy.
This woman is some kind of witch or something.
Because of course she is.
I don't really know what's going on with her. She has Firelord under a spell of some sort, and she is working with El Lobo. And she only exists for the next 2 issues, and her name is a slur, so I'm going to call her Gina. Don't get used to Gina, she's not sticking around. Anyway.
Ooh, that's a relief.
Louise comes running in to report about Thor, but El Lobo reprimands him and gives a vague order to take some men and kill the intruders. So, problem solved, I guess. For a moment, Firelord reels as the name Thor stirs something within his mind, but Gina reinforces her hold on him pretty easily because his brain is mush.
Yeah, he is pretty easy to manipulate.
Returning to Asgard, Baldur is out for drinks with Hildegard.
What else is he gonna do?
The latter of whom is concerned about her friend's mental state. Baldur insists that something is wrong with Odin, but Hildy suggests that maybe he's just upset about Thor being banished?
I mean, isn't there always something wrong with Odin? Maybe this is just how he is.
I love Hildy so much, but that's a dumb thing to say, because Odin is the one who banished Thor, and if he was sad about it, he could just not do that.
Well, yes, but I feel like Odin wants to be sad a lot of the time.
No, yeah, I think he does that.
Well, yeah, because he wants attention.
I'm so sad that I banished myself. He does this shit all the time.
It gets him attention, and it also helps him justify his shitty behavior.
Yes. It's a pattern of abuse.
I mean, yeah, that gets addressed later pretty explicitly, but not at this point. Brave Baldur definitely does not think that's the problem, and he further declares that if Odin no longer acts for the good of the realm, something must be done about it.
Welcome to the revolution, Baldur.
Viva la revolution.
I would like to see revolutionary Baldur.
I think he could pull it off. He is explicitly the most beloved of the gods.
Yes.
So I think he could pull it off.
Oh, now that's a story I'd love to see. Baldur does a coup.
Our boy Baldur means well, but he's clearly not very good at this whole rebellion thing because he fails to notice the presence of Snakehar the Skulker.
Wow.
Which is quite a name. Who is sitting in the booth behind him, eavesdropping on their conversation. Snakehar I hate this
Oh
man.
my god.
Snakeheart takes off to tell Igron all about it, and I regret to inform you that we will be seeing him again.
Apparently Baldur's not the only one stupid enough to go talking around Snakeheart the Skulker.
Well, yeah,
The guy's called Snakeheart the Skulker, and no one else has picked up on this.
Well, he's probably the god of skulking. Someone's gotta be. It's this poor bastard.
It's a thankless job, but somebody's got to do it.
Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, there are gods of good things and there are gods of bad things, and this poor bastard is a god of something not very good.
Thor and Jane have been walking aimlessly through the jungle for hours because President Elmira's didn't actually give them any actionable directions.
What? He just told them to go somewhere else?
Go to the jungle.
That surely would have helped.
Thor is completely fine with this, but Jane is becoming fatigued and needs a rest. She's not going to get it, though, because just then a group of rebels, led by Louise, jumps out of the brush and opens fire. The Odinson, of course, easily repels the bullets, causing them to wildly ricochet back at the gunmen, who all take cover. Louise then orders them to toss aside their guns and instead move in for a good old-fashioned bludgeoning.
Uh-huh.
Thor finds this laughable, tossing Mjolnir to knock over several of the men. He starts to shout about not wanting to fight them and saying that if they tell him where Firelord is, he will leave them alone. But the men rush in and try to dogpile him.
Well, good luck.
Yeah, good luck with that. It does seem like it's working for like a second, but then the God of Thunder easily tosses them aside and catches his hammer again. I'm sure Luis has many talents, but clearly he's no brilliant tactician. With his two plans thwarted, it is of course now time to take Jane hostage because that's the reason she's here. He grabs her from behind, but this is not his day because Jane immediately does a fucking, judo flip.
When did she learn to... Wait, is that why she's here? So she can judo flip a communist?
I don't know where she learned this or why she can do it.
But apparently she's here to
it's the soul of a goddess.
She's
Taught her how to do that.
here to be fan service and to judo flip a communist.
Until it's not convenient for her to do that.
Yes.
Which I promise is coming.
Of course. Of course. She can't be too
And to
confident.
speak Spanish when it's convenient for her to do so.
It doesn't come up again. Ever.
Well, I'm just saying that was one of the things she was there to do.
And she's not going to do it.
No. It doesn't come up. So the last resort comes in the form of Manuel. Why does this guy need a name? He jumps on Thor's back and tries to snap his neck.
Oh, that's not what that looks like.
No. But he gets thrown at his friends like a bowling ball instead.
I love this face Thor makes.
Yeah. Thor's always making faces. This one is actually a pretty good face.
Like, the art's fine in this, but the writing is...
Yeah. I'm going to give Louise a D- and a see me after class for this ambush.
I don't know, I feel like the fact that he lived after fighting the mighty Thor...
Thor doesn't kill people.
Yeah, but he doesn't... None of them even look particularly hurt.
Well,
He's been very gentle.
yeah. D-, like I said. If they had died, he would get an F.
Well, also, he didn't know he was fighting the literal God of Thunder.
No. Thor is just about to take his leave when who should arrive but the very idiot he's looking for.
There's the bitch.
Yes, Firelord is here, along with both Gina and El Lobo. Old Hothead doesn't seem to recognize Thunder Thighs, who attempts to reason with the alien before they come to blows. Of course, Gina is there to urge Firelord forward when he hesitates, and so he raises his staff to shoot a burst of flame at the Golden Avenger. Thor raises his cape, which is fireproof, as we all know.
Wait, it is?
It's happened before. I mean, I'm saying it like a joke, but it has happened before, so whatever. Then he responds with his trusty-dusty hammer beams.
And now we're having a beams battle.
Yep. So the beams and the flames are too evenly matched, locking them in a stalemate. But Thor has at least one brain cell and is ready to take the initiative, leaping over the crackling energy. Yeah, that gives him a solid advantage.
Yeah, well, Thor, see, because Fire
That's
Lord being
100%
controlled.
more than Firelord has.
Yeah.
So he leaps over the crackling energy to deliver a solid right hook. He says something about how sad it is to see a former herald of Galactus getting involved in petty human conflicts.
Hey, Thor?
In a way that seems to imply he thinks that being a herald is good and noble.
Hey, Thor, everything you said is wrong.
Also, what are you doing right now? What are you doing? Do you mind telling me what are you doing right now?
Thor.
Thor?
How many human wars have you gotten yourself involved in?
You wouldn't happen to be getting yourself involved in any petty human conflicts, would you?
No, Thor never. I don't know at what point we decided that Galactus is cool, but I would very much like for it to stop.
Like, I thought Odin had made Galactus his, like, enemy number one at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the worst thing ever, and now we're just kind of cool with him?
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, they were hanging out for a while. Mm-hmm. It was weird and awkward and felt wrong, and the vibes were rank, and yet they still did it, and now Thor is just, like, cool with Galactus.
I don't know what to tell you. Thor throws his hammer, but Firelord knocks it away with his staff, and it flies away, knocking down a couple trees in what is literally the best panel of this entire issue.
Oh my god,
I actually genuinely like this panel.
No, I have been looking at this panel, like, the whole time.
It's really good. 100% the best thing in this whole issue.
I think I know what's happened. Lynn likes Galactus, and he can't separate liking Galactus as a concept versus, well, surely our heroes must like him, right?
Why are we deciding this based off of what are we deciding
Based off of every interaction we've seen of Galactus lately.
Len has not written Galactus at all.
No, but this is what he thinks of Galactus.
I'm not sure that tracks completely.
I don't know.
I think Thor's saying that being a herald is noble, not that Galactus is noble, so...
I don't know, Thor had
it has an implication that Thor, I guess, doesn't think that Galactus eating planets is a big deal, but...
Which is a weird thing.
It's weird, but I don't think it's the same as saying that Galactus is, like, 100% cool. You know?
But Len has, like, the weirdest takes on things so far.
Len has bad ideas.
It is a good panel, though. I will give you that. It's a very good
panel. But during this entire interaction, Firelord did say that he doesn't remember anything before he met Gina. So Thor is able to put A and B together and deduce what's going on here. What he has to do, obviously, is break Firelord out of Gina's spell. And he's going to do that by punching him, I guess.
Sure.
I'm gonna punch the love right out of you.
Gina sees this development and panics, but El Lobo knows just what to do. He takes Jane hostage for the second time this issue.
Oh, god damn it.
But this time, she doesn't judo flip him.
Because this time it sticks somehow.
Yeah, I don't know what's different about this time, but she just doesn't do it. So she's a hostage.
Some Silver Age writing.
With Thor thusly subdued, Gina uses the gem on her forehead to hypnotize him, and now she has both he and Firelord under her control, which means that democracy is doomed. Hooray!
Hooray!
Yay!
What would you guys rate this one?
Bad out of bad.
2. I'm being kind. That hammer, that hammer, going through trees. Gets a 2.
That saved it.
I don't know. The kindness in me wants to say 2.5 because I've seen so much worse.
Yeah.
Look, that's what the one category
is. This better or worse than the Time Twisters?
This is better than the Time Twisters.
I agree.
Not by much.
Well, no, but...
It's better than the end of the Time Twisters. Yeah, but true. Not better than most of the Time Twisters.
Okay, so to be fair, so far, the story hasn't decided that it was about something else yet.
Yeah.
It still has the opportunity to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not loving this story.
Yeah, I gave this a Great and Glorious 2.
Yeah, I think that's fair. CMRO has it as 2.67.
So I'm pretty close.
Yeah.
That's
2.5.
not that's not very kind of them. It takes a lot to get under 2. Mad.
With that absolute airball, we're going to go on to Thor number 247 from February of 1976. Written by Len Wein, penciled by John Buscema, inked by Joe Sinnott, colored by Glynis Wein, and lettered by Joe Rosen.
The Flame and the Hammer.
Ah. As we saw last issue, Thor is indeed under the spell of the devious Gina, and has joined the side of El Lobo's resistance. He and Firelord wreak havoc upon the armies of Costa Verde, believing that President Almirez is a dictator, and they fight to free the people from his clutches.
They are ironically probably correct.
Though both of them hold back, still hesitant to actually kill the soldiers. Down on the ground, Gina and El Lobo gloat over their imminent victory. The wolf taunts Jane over the loss of her hero, which only convinces her that she must find a way to break the spell on his mind one way or another. Meanwhile, the shitstorm continues to brew up in Asgard. Baldur has been brought before the Allfather to face charges of treason, courtesy of Igron.
You know, I appreciate them committing to the bit of Odin getting a new fit every time we see him.
Odin asks for Baldur to present his case, and our brave little boy kneels to do so without hesitation. He is bound to serve Asgard and its ruler, he says, but he has reason to believe that Igron is twisting Odin's mind and manipulating him toward evil. And so he declares if he foments rebellion, it would be to remove Igron, not Odin himself. Panicked, Igron has a whispered conversation with his lord in which he declares that Baldur knows too much and must be sent to the dungeon until they can determine his conspirators. Odin concurs and delivers his sentence, but Baldur the Brave isn't going down that easy.
He knows too much. About what?
I wonder. He draws his sword as the guards move in around him, fighting his way out of the throne room, and then making a dramatic escape by jumping over a balcony. He hides in the shadows as more warriors come to search for him, and he plans to make his way to Midgard, where he will find Thor and the Warriors 3. Then they will all return to defeat Igron and release Odin from his spell.
I
Okay.
don't think there's a spell.
Remember last issue when the Warriors 3 got told to stay behind, even though they had nothing to do?
Sure, let's say I do.
I do.
Literally just happened.
I know, but I don't think Lynn cares enough about the storyline to remember.
No, I think
Okay,
he
but
does, because he's
He does,
bringing it
because
up right
that's
now.
what happened. Well, we now find them aimlessly wandering through New York City. I guess Fandral has it in his mind to hit the town, but I'm not sure how they're planning to do that. Did Jane and Thor leave them some money? Or are they just billing it to the Avengers, since they stayed at the mansion before? Many questions and no answers,
Of course not.
as the plan is ruined by Volstag's fascination with cartoon mascots. He presses his face to the window of a store, scrutinizing the creature running across a TV screen, while Fandral urges him to focus. The cartoon cuts out suddenly for a news bulletin, and they all gather around to receive the update that Thor has joined the fighting in Costa Verde on the side of the rebels, and things are looking grim.
Communists have the blessing of the God of Thunder.
No. Well, I mean, it's the hammer.
Yeah, but where's the sickle?
Great question. Night has fallen, leaving El Lobo to plot his last move on the capital city. He sits by the fire with Gina, Firelord, and Thor, each giving him their undivided attention. In a tent nearby, Jane hatches her plot to get Thor back. First order of business is taking out her guard, Miguel, and given how he's been eyeing her, she has a pretty good idea of how to do it.
Oh man, we are supposed to think this is gross.
She peeks out of the tent flap to beckon him over, and he is immediately disarmed by her charms. As he leans in, he is then disarmed once more as Jane uses more ridiculous judo moves
What?
to knock him out and take his gun.
She's able to do that again.
I don't know where or when she learned this. I don't know why she didn't do it before. Also, she is making a lot of gross comments about this guy's weight that I don't think are necessary.
Yeah, as I said, we're supposed to think that was gross.
Yeah, Len, we know he's a bad guy and we can see that he's chubby. I really don't think you had to go out of your way to be mean about it. It's kind of unnecessary, Len. Jane uses the gun to shoot the ground near the fire and get everyone's attention.
Wait.
I don't know why this is her brilliant plan, but also this gun looks terrible.
Yeah, this thing looks fucking ridiculous.
This looks like worse than any of the terrible Liefeld guns.
They don't actually know. Whoever drew that gun does not know what a gun looks like.
This looks like a gun. This looks like a gun.
Yeah, but whoever
doesn't.
drew that gun doesn't actually know how guns work.
Well,
they know what guns look like. They don't know how they work.
I think they just don't know what machine guns look like.
You know what? Yeah.
Because this pistol looks fine. So, El Lobo does the Chris Pratt from Jurassic World pose and starts trying to talk her down, but it's all a ruse as Louise hides in the brush to line up a shot. Luckily, Jane is fucking Rambo. And she fires a few rounds past Louise, startling him so bad he drops his gun. And now with everyone's full attention, Miss Foster makes her demands. She wants Thor released from Gina's spell, and she's willing to fight over it.
I want my darling back.
At first, Gina refuses, but Lobo urges her to accept the challenge so he can save face with his men.
Challenge?
Just shoot Gina.
I don't see how that follows, but okay.
Wait, there's a challenge?
Yeah. Thor challenged Gina because she said she'll fight about it, I guess. And El Lobo is like, you can't refuse this challenge because it'll make me look bad.
I see that, but...
Look, I'm not saying it makes sense. I'm just saying that's what happens.
Okay, I'm just trying to process that. I don't think the story is I think the story is suddenly not making as much sense as it was, which is kind of saying a lot, actually.
So Gina then says that she will fight according to the ancient rules, whatever that means. Smash cut to a few minutes later, each woman has been given a knife, and in their other hand, they each hold one end of a bandana.
What the fuck?
According to the ancient ways, means that they knife fight, and the first to let go of the bandana loses and gets killed.
Well, or someone dies.
Simple enough, I guess.
Or someone gets killed and lets go of the bandana.
Well, yeah.
Right.
I mean, if they die, then they lose. If they
let go of the bandana,
then they die. Exactly.
But so why did Jane say yes to this?
She wanted this.
She wanted a knife fight with a bandana?
Like I said, she's Rambo now. The two women fight, and it's actually pretty exciting.
Yeah, this is fun.
I do appreciate new badass Jane, but I wish her badassery was consistent.
Yes!
Like, we're letting her be cool and self-reliant when it suits the story, but then she does still become a sexy lamp half the time, and it doesn't make sense.
I'm guessing the instructions were unclear.
No, I get the impression that Len wants her to be cool and badass, but I don't know if either there's like some kind of pressure from like editors or if he's just like stuck in the Silver Age idea of like the woman has to be a damsel.
You know, I assumed it was the other way around. That
No, I assumed that Len is pushing this because if he didn't want this, then it wouldn't be going so fucking hard, honestly.
I mean, he's also the editor on this one.
No, he's not.
Not on this one?
Marv Wolfman.
Oh, well, on the first one, he was the editor.
Okay,
Yeah.
He is an editor, but
Yeah.
he's not the editor-in-chief.
Yeah, he's not the editor-in-chief, but he is the editor on this issue.
I don't know. We'll never know what the truth is.
That's true.
It doesn't
He's
matter.
been dead for some time and probably didn't care.
Is he dead? So the truth will never come to light, and it doesn't matter anyway.
Says you, there might be a whole world of interviews out there.
Oh no, what if people interviewed Len Wein about his run of Thor?
I sincerely doubt it. People don't talk about Thor.
Especially not Len Wein's Thor.
Thor and Firelord are still sitting at the fire, looking blank as hell. I guess they won't do anything on their own until Gina tells them to, which is convenient. Jane finds an opening to trip her opponent, knocking Gina to the ground and ruthlessly threatening to slit her throat if she doesn't yield and release her spell.
No, don't you know how the rules work? You gotta kill her.
Well, I mean, she's ready to. In a panic, which seems to be a pattern with her, Gina calls to the men watching nearby, who leap to action. They don't really care about Gina, as from their perspective, she has lost. But if they lose her, they also lose Thor and Firelord. And without them, the revolution won't have a chance. So they raise their guns and take aim at Nurse Foster. But in the next split second, as Thor witnesses the imminent demise of his beloved, he snaps out of his stupor and begins attacking the rebels.
He just says nay, not I
Nay!
say thee nay.
Well, he didn't have enough time to say the whole thing. Still on the ground, Gina cries out in disbelief and helpfully exposits that nothing can resist the spell of her mind jewel, which allows Jane to figure out that the source of her power is the very obvious headband that she used to hypnotize Thor in the last issue.
Why?
Jane rips the bauble off and tosses it into the fire, hoping to destroy it in the flames. Gina is practically hysterical at this point, but she has the presence of mind to remember that Firelord is still under her thrall for the moment. She commands him to retrieve the gem, which he does, easily plucking it from the flames as they have no effect on his alien skin. It would be weird if it did.
His head is literally on fire.
He is the Fire Lord.
It would be strange if he was affected by the fire.
Yeah.
Oh no, my head, I'm constantly burning, I'm constantly having burns.
I'm on fire,
really
what
funny.
the hell, why didn't you tell me?
That would be really funny.
It'd be a lot more interesting than what's happening right now.
But when Gina further commands him to hand it over, he stands still for a moment, considering the jewel. Once he's commanded the second time, he refuses, instead crushing it in his palm. So Gina's plot has been foiled. We're never going to learn anything about her or this jewel, so don't think about it. El Lobo isn't ready to throw in the towel yet, either. He orders his men to kill the outsiders.
That's gonna go real well.
Yeah, that's gonna go about as well as you would expect. Of course, Thor is able to deflect the bullets while Jane takes cover behind him. And you'd think at a certain point they would stop trying to shoot him because he does this every time. But apparently they also have tanks, and someone did go and get one of those.
They have tanks and artillery pieces.
But Firelord makes quick work of the tank with a sound effect that says slag?
Sure.
I don't know what kind of sound that's supposed to describe,
I think melting.
but it's just there to be a pun, so
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
He turned it to slag. Lobo has also wheeled out some kind of artillery cannon, which does manage to hit Thor and stagger him. Though he falls for a moment, he rises with newborn determination, destroying the cannon with a single toss of his hammer before spinning up a tornado to trap the rest of the rebels. The men are all caught in the whirlwind, helplessly spun through the air, into the sky, and dropped on the presidential lawn, where they are immediately arrested. President Elmirez is stupefied until the heroes arrive seconds later. Thor explains that he only fulfilled the promise he made to free the country from El Lobo's threat, and while he still doesn't understand, Elmirez is grateful.
Yeah, he's not gonna look this gift horse in the mouth.
Thor turns to Firelord, who basically says, yeah, whatever, bye, and then flies back to space. But Thor thinks he will come back because no one else wants him in their book.
Yeah.
The end. What do you rate this?
2.
2.
Yeah, that's a very solid 2.
This was
Part of me wants to give it a 2.5 for the lady knife fighting.
The lady knife fighting was really good.
but look, we're grasping at straws. This was boring.
It was pretty boring.
This is this is getting... Okay, I see that title down there. There Shall Come
2.5.
Revolution.
2.5 because Baldur's being fun and there's the lady knife fighting going on. 2.5.
And I may have been closer to the truth because I think Revolutionary Baldur is coming true.
You know what actually the lady knife fight reminds me of? That story of, like... Have you guys ever seen that thing about this duchess who had, like, a topless duel?
Yes.
Oh,
That lady.
Yeah, that sounds vaguely
It reminds
familiar.
me of that.
I don't think they knew about that, though.
Well, no, obviously. I'm not saying they were referencing that.
Because if
I'm
they
just saying that's what it makes me think
did,
of.
the two ladies would have stripped more.
Well, yeah. I would love to see a topless knife fight, but that's not what happened.
That's what they should have saved the stripping for. They should have saved the stripping for before the fight. So I can have tear my shirt off.
Absolutely.
Tear my sleeves off.
See, a Chris Claremont would have saved the stripping for the knife fight.
And that's all I have today, so.
It's like we're going to turn one in short of 3 hours.
Fantastic.
Thank God.
I love to hear that. Yeah, I mean, you have a lot, but I knew that mine was going to be pretty short, so.
These are... Lynn is committing, like, the most heinous sin he can do.
Being boring.
Yes. He is actually, even when he's, telling a cromulent story that starts...
Cromulent?
Yeah, it's functional.
Okay.
It's.
I've just never heard that word before.
No?
No.
Huh. It's a fun word. Cromulent.
What the fuck is that?
What the fuck is
I'm
that?
Sorry, I just saw a Warriors 3 comic.
There was a
not
Warriors
on my list.
3 comic?
What the hell? We gotta read this. I'm gonna have to put this in the order.
Lynn wrote it.
Len wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to read it. It's the Warriors 3.
And it's by... And
I was telling Ripley earlier, they have so many spin-off books that I'm like, I have to find every single one
That's
and
fair.
cover it,
But
because
look,
there's nothing.
It has the artists from the Thor issues.
Yeah.
I have so many spin-offs and team-ups that I can beat them away with a damn stick if I want to. There's a certain point where I could just go, no!
And Candace is desperate for spin-offs.
I am.
And I sit here and I take them from you, and it's terrible.
It says it's in my comic box, but I've never seen this before.
It's wild that they made one. I hope it's not long and boring. But
It's 17 pages.
Okay, I hope it's not boring. It is by Lynn.
Fair enough. I'll figure out somewhere to put this. So,
But Lynn is truly committing the worst sin he can do. He's making boring stories. It's worse that they're telling the same stories he told before. How much Lynn do we have left?
A lot. We've done this every single episode you ask, and I always tell you a lot, and you're always sad.
Because it's getting worse. I'm sorry.
I don't think it's getting worse. I think it's pretty consistent. I think it's consistently terrible.
Okay, it's not getting worse. The ride is getting more painful as we continue forward through his territory.
It's just because it's consistently hitting you in the nuts over and over again.
Yes, and that...
and you're getting to the point where you're like, I don't know how many more nut shots I can take.
Yeah, one is usually enough. We're at like 5 now, and it hurts. It hurts when I pee.
Okay. Let's wrap this up.
Anyway, that's going to be it for us this week. It hurts when John pees.
Bye.